Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to another episode of EmpireJeffTV. I am your host, Empire Jeff, coming to you on a Sunday night live from Los Angeles, California, man. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've done a live stream. Been doing the clips, been doing the posts, but haven't done a full-fledged live stream in a minute. Y'all miss me, man? I miss you guys, man. It's good to be back, and hope everything is going great with everybody. Hope everybody and their families are all good. We're here to talk some Los Angeles Dodgers baseball tonight, man, after the Los Angeles Dodgers swept the San Diego Padres. 3-0 them at Dodger Stadium this weekend. And I'd be lying if I said that I thought the Dodgers were going to sweep this series, because I did not think that they would. I thought that the pitching rotation was set up nicely for them to compete in this series. I felt it was set up for them to potentially win the series. But coming off that Angel sweep, I didn't have a ton of confidence in the Dodgers being able to sweep the San Diego Padres, considering the run they were coming in on. When you looked at the path of these two teams heading for each other and the route in which they got there and how each other was playing at the time that this series was set to start, no way I thought that they were going to sweep the Padres. No way I thought that was going to happen. The Padres, especially that last little appetizer game they had against the San Francisco Giants, when they just absolutely obliterated them early and like, look, we just want to get to LA. Let's get to LA. And I was like, man, they are coming in hot. The Dodgers are coming in after getting swept by the Angels. And I'm thinking, okay, man, we better get one. I think we might be able to get two, because of the rotation we had going. Figured that, the Padres coming to town would wake up the Dodgers a little bit, would get them a little bit of a pulse that seemed to be lacking the entire Angels series. So I felt that they would wake up the Dodgers, but there was a lot of things. Would the Dodgers bullpen be able to perform? Would the Dodgers starters be able to go deep into games? Would the bats wake up in timely fashion? You know what's going to happen here? Like we don't know, right? In baseball, you never know anyways. And this series is an exact reminder of why none of us know anything. We know nothing when it comes to baseball, because just look at the Dodgers' last 4 series. All right. And this is kind of the definition of what this team is right now. And this actually concerns me a little bit right now, even after coming off a sweep of the Padres. And I'm going to touch on this. But when you think about it, let's think back to that St. Louis series. Okay, go back to that St. Louis series. They lost that series. All right. Should have won that series. Blew games in that series. Every game in the last 3 series leading up to the Dodgers Padres, there was a worst game of the year quote. Worst game of the year. Worst game of the year. In every one of these series, there was a worst game of the year quote, right? And we have been having those in just about every series because we haven't swept the series or won 3 games in a row since the White Sox series, right? So as a result of that, you had a lot of these bad losses. You had bad losses to Cincinnati. You had bad losses to St. Louis. You had a bad loss to Toronto. You had multiple bad losses to the Angels. And you just kept continuing to hear worst loss of the year, right? And to me, the worst loss of the year is forever going to be July 4th against the Astros. That's forever going to be the worst loss of the year to me. Nothing else, unless they blow a game 7 in the playoffs, is going to be the worst game of the year to me. That right now is the worst game of the year to me. But when you talk about this Dodger team and kind of how they keep becoming the opposite of what you think they're becoming. So they come in and you think that St. Louis series, they're going to get it. They don't. Then they go up against they just struggled against St. Louis. You got Toronto coming in. They just went ballistic their last 3 games. And they come in and essentially shut them down in the first 2 games. And then they blow game 3. They blow game 3, but they win the series. Now, they should have swept that series. They absolutely should have swept that series. But I believe that game 3 against Toronto, that little hiccup there towards the end of that game, is essentially what almost led to the Angels sweep, right? In that series. So you have the team somewhat falling apart again. You have the bullpen falling apart again. I believe that was Glasnow in game 3 against Toronto as well. Very similar to this game here. And it's like, man, the starters, he went deep into the game. He started to get a little away from him. The bullpen came in and they blew it. Now the Angels series, it just never, ever felt like the Dodgers were in it, even in the game that they were winning in game 3 when Shohei was pitching. Game 1, Yamamoto gets roughed up. Game 2, they get roughed up, even though they jumped out early in the lead of that game, get roughed up. And then game 3, Shohei looked great. The offense gets going, but you just didn't trust it, right? You didn't trust it. You felt like, man, these guys are going to get out there. Vessi has been horrific for a week. You just didn't really feel like you could trust it. And it just felt there was something missing. There was something missing in this team. They were lifeless. They didn't show like they cared very much. It didn't feel like they were going to do anything. As soon as the Angels got up on them, you felt like they weren't going to come back. As soon as the Dodgers got up on the Angels, you felt like they were going to give it away. It just didn't feel very comfortable thinking that they were going to hold the lead in that Angels series. Now, the Angels had already swept us earlier in the season. So, they kind of have our number / something mental there, perhaps, right? So, we leave Anaheim, and we have just lost 4 straight games. Literally blew all 4 games. And you're coming in to Dodger Stadium against a red-hot Padres team who's looking for blood against the Dodgers, who have been talking about the Dodgers, been thinking about the Dodgers. And I think the problem with the Padres is they're just too focused on the Dodgers. It's like the Clippers just being focused on the Lakers and not thinking about the rest of the teams in the league. It's kind of where the Padres are right now. They are so dead set on dethroning the Dodgers in the NL West and beating the Dodgers and having one day in first place and getting headlines for being in first place in the Dodgers division. Like, they're so focused on that would you put them out there in front of everything they've been asking to be in front of, and they blew it again. Now, this Padre team is very good. Let's not get it twisted for a second here. This is a very good Padre team. They've got excellent veterans. They got sluggers. They got guys who can get on base. They got guys who can steal bases. They got guys who can field. They got guys who can pitch. I think that they lack a good manager. I think Mike Schilt is horrible. But, you know, every time I'm at Dodger Stadium and I watch the Dodgers play the Padres, and from my seat's perspective, I look to the left and I look to the right at the two bullpens, and I'm like, thank God we have Dave Roberts and we don't have Mike Schilt. Just thank God. Thank God. For all the anti-Dave guys, and there's a lot of you guys, count your blessings that we do not have Mike Schilt. Okay, just count your blessings. All right. So the Padres come in, and game one was really weird. I remember sitting there, and I got out of work a little later. That was Friday night. So I had the game on at work. We could hear the game. Saw what was kind of going on there, and I saw that, you know, Kershaw gave up the home run. I'm like, okay, Kersh got out of the, you know, Kersh is doing okay here, man. But the stadium there was no life in the stadium. There was no life in the stadium. There wasn't a vibe. There wasn't energy. It didn't sound like a playoff game. It felt like a playoff game because it was intense. It was like a scary movie where you're waiting for something to come that never really came. It was a weird game. It's a really weird game. And you really didn't hear the stadium. You didn't hear the crowd as much, but you could feel the tension. You could see it. You could see it on the fans there at the stadium. When it was the top of the ninth and they weren't up standing for every out and trying to get in, and 2 outs weren't up standing, like it felt like they thought they were going to blow it again. It felt like the fans in attendance felt like the Dodgers were going to blow another lead, and they went and they got it done. And then you come into game two and they smoke them, right? They smoke them. Blake Snell dominates again. Well, back real quick. Kershaw was phenomenal in game one. Kersh has been holding it down all season long. All season long. You keep thinking, like, how are these teams not hitting him? He's not in the mid-90s. He's not even barely in the low 90s. He's hitting his location. He's getting guys out. He's pitching incredible to the point where I believe that Kershaw will be on the playoff roster. I believe he will. I'm not saying he's going to start a playoff game. Maybe he'll get some mop-up duty. Maybe he'll be the quote-unquote, instead of the bullpen game or the punt game, maybe it's him. Maybe he does long relief. I don't know. But I believe that Kershaw has earned a roster spot on the playoff roster. They get that extra spot. Ohtani's not going to count as a pitcher. I think Kershaw makes the roster as a pitcher in the postseason. I think he does, and I think he's earned it. Where would we be this season without Clayton Kershaw? Think about it. Where would we be? And I wouldn't start him in a playoff game that I had to have. That's a fact. And that sounds crazy if you're just looking at numbers. But this isn't the numbers. He's going to get ambushed like crazy in the playoffs if they throw him out there to start in a game that you have to have. However, we would be in a lot of trouble this season if we did not have Clayton Kershaw. So shout out to Kersh, man. Phenomenal game. The bullpen came in and held it down. Game two, Snell shoved. He did his thing. He bullied them. The Dodgers didn't light it up offensively as far as putting the bats on the baseball to drive in runs. To me, look, I'm a guy that to me, a walk is a single. If you have the patience to get up there and take 4 balls or foul away pitches, when you grind out at bats, you get to a 8, 9, 10 pitch at bat and you draw a walk. To me, that's as important as a single. So the Dodgers, with all those walks in the bottom of the first against Dylan Cease, to me, I know people will say, well, the bats. To me, knowing when not to swing the bat is just as important as putting the bat on a ball and getting a single. To me, okay? Obviously, a walk, if there's a runner on second, doesn't score the runner on second as much as a single, but you guys get what I mean. So, roughing up Dylan Cease early, getting that lead, getting that comfort. Let Snell get out there and really cook. And then you had Will Smith throwing out all those runners, 3 runners in the first 2 innings. Like he's the best catcher in baseball, man. He's the best catcher in baseball. And the Dodgers winning that game yesterday was so big because 1, they won the series. 2, that gives them the series. They won the season series. So that gives them an extra game in the standings no matter what. So if you're up 1, you're really up 2. If you're down 1, you're 1 away from being up 1. So the pressure on both sides of the standings, whether you're up 1 or 2 or down 1 or 2, the pressure, it puts more pressure on the Padres because you have the season series now. So you have that buffer. You have that extra game. If it's the last game of the year and you have a 1-game lead over the Padres and you know they're pretty much going to get a win there, or you don't have to care about the 162nd game. If you have a 1-game lead on the last game of the year, you don't have to care about it because you've earned the fact. Well, let me back up. You don't have to worry about it from the Padre perspective. You do have to worry about it from overall standings, where you rank in playoff positioning. But as far as winning a division, you won't have to worry about that if you're up 1 on the final day of the season, because you have the tiebreaker. Now, today's game was a lot more like, today's game was a combination of game 1 and 2. You got off to the big lead early. You led 4-0 after the first inning. Glasnow ended up giving 2, damn near went 6. The bullpen was rocky and shaky the entire time. They gave up 2, but they were rocky and shaky. I don't think any of us like the fact that they have to throw Diaz out there, but they have to throw him out there. They threw multiple guys in this series. They had to use guys in game 1. They had to use guys in game 2. So the guys that they used in game 1 and game 2, you couldn't really use today. So the Dodgers were kind of stuck today, but they threw Diaz out there. And you know when he's going out there, you know there's no way he should be expected to finish an entire inning by himself. You just know that. But lack of options at this point. To me, that is way more on Friedman and the front office than it is on Dave. Because Dave, if the guy's on the active roster in the pen, he has to use them, especially at the back end of a 3-game series when you've used guys. He has to use them. So he throws them out there. He had, I believe he had a guy 0-2 and then he hit him. Then he gets up. He had a pretty decent Friday night game. And tonight's game was very similar to Vesia's Friday night game. And Vesia was terrible for a week, and then he comes in and shuts it down. So the Dodgers bullpen, even though Vesia actually got it done today, he's been driving me nuts the last week. He did get it done today. But this Dodger bullpen, when you think about potentially what could be coming back, now that you got the starters back, giving you 5 or 6 innings, the amount of pressure that this removes from every other aspect of your ball club. The bats know they don't have to score 6 or 7 runs to win a game. They know that they can be up there and not contribute every single inning and still be able to win a game. They know that they can have a big first inning and their arms can hold it. So there's a lot of different things that could give this Dodger team confidence just by being whole. And they literally have not been whole all season. It hasn't happened. And I don't think they'll ever be whole for the rest of this season. But Mookie Betts coming back, and Mookie Betts kind of showing signs of life, and then finally showing some signs of power. To be honest with you guys, I think his muscle mass is starting to return. I think he lost all that weight, and I truly believe that his strength just went south. And I feel like it's taken him almost all year to get his strength back. Now, something what Mookie's has gone through all season is completely different than something that what Conforto has gone through all season. Conforto has been healthy all season. He's just been terrible. Mookie has not been healthy all season. He's been out there doing his best, but he wasn't Mookie. He just wasn't Mookie. So Mookie, when he's Mookie, obviously, Conforto, when he's quote unquote Conforto, was nowhere near Mookie. So there's no comparison as to the player. But what I'm saying is, like, you felt like at some point we were going to get Mookie back. If you sit up here and say, if we're going to get Conforto back, that's not a major. It's okay. You're getting a guy batting 190. Conforto back means a guy 230, 240, right? It's not really a massive like improvement, right? He probably had half the home runs he probably should have had this year. I think he's at 9. He's at 9 right now. I think he was projected to hit like 17 to 18, right? So you got half of what you thought you would get from Conforto, right? A guy that's at the back end of a guy you plan for or you count on as much, right? Mookie Betts is your second or third at worst guy that you're going to be counting on. And so you knew that once you got him back, once Mookie was Mookie again, this team was going to start to play better and figure things out. Now, Mookie was starting to become Mookie, even getting swept by the Angels. I understand that. And like I said, as I sit up here, I'm not going to get too overly excited about sweeping the Padres because a couple of days ago, we just got swept by the Angels, right? I haven't forgotten that. I love the fact that we swept them. I'm excited. I enjoyed it. But I need to see them sweep Colorado. They need to go in there and body Colorado. They need to go rock the Rockies. Head into San Diego on a 7-game winning streak. That's what they need to do. That's what they need to do. Go back to Petco on a 7-game winning streak and win that series. Look, if the Dodgers can win 5 or 6 of their next 7 games, they will reestablish themselves. People will start being like, uh-oh, here they go. Not them again. Not them again. All this BS in the middle of the season, if they end the season the way they started the season, MLB is in trouble and they know it. And they know it. This team all season long, the biggest thing, the biggest detractor, the biggest issue, bar none, is healthy bodies. Bar none. Healthy bodies. You cannot have a depleted starting rotation, a depleted bullpen, guys in and out of the lineup due to injury. You can't have all that no matter how much you pay on a team, no matter how much your roster costs, no matter how much that cap is, no matter how much the luxury tax, no matter any of that. If that money isn't on the field, it doesn't matter. It's not in play. It's not in play. You can walk into a casino with $10 million. If $1,000 is on the table, it doesn't matter. You're not playing the money. The money's not there. That's kind of how the Dodgers have been this year. Now, that's not the only thing. That's just the main thing. That's the biggest thing all year. They've had other issues. Lack of intelligent plays, slip-ups, attention to detail, lack of life, lack of a pulse. There's times, but a lot of these things come from overworked. A lot of these things come from all those other guys being out and you having to carry the load for the entire season. That takes a tone. That takes a tone. Like, think about it. Think about it. Like, if you went to work every day and you have a good team, you have a good workforce, you have good coworkers, and collectively you guys do a good job. You get everything done. Your bosses, your owners, whatever's happy, right? Everyone's happy. Your customers, if you own your business, if you've got your contractors, if you got your workers, if you got your vendors, your teams, if your customers are happy, everything's moving in, everything's moving the way it should, everything is in sync. But when you start losing things, little pieces to the puzzle, little parts of the business. Well, when you lose your rotation, that's a part of the business. When you lose your bullpen, that's part of the business. What happens to Mookie Betts, Teo, Edman, Muncy, those guys are part of the business. So imagine you show up to work and 70% of what you count on to get your work done for the day is unavailable. Now, you can push through. You can get some things done, but you're not going to be to the best of your abilities. You're not going to be as sharp. Your customers aren't going to be as happy. You're not going to get the same result. It's impossible. It's impossible. And that's where the Dodgers have found themselves most of this season. And even with all that, they're still right there. They're still right there. And I know a lot of you guys don't like Dave. I get it. I have a lot of fun going back and forth. I really do. But at the end of the day, like, this man has navigated a very rough season. Very rough season. And I don't know a lot of managers that could have navigated this season. He will be judged come playoff time, having a 9-game lead and with a busted, injured roster, and then kind of losing that. He has to answer to that for sure. But like I said, when you really break it down and put it into perspective, because I've been part of teams that got depleted. I've had to show up to a championship with like half the team didn't make it out of the last game. You know what I mean? Like, so like I've been there, right? So it is, man, that was a crazy firework that just went off. Looking for Lucky. He don't like those things. That's what the Dodgers, for the most part, have been going through. And this team has never been the team that we thought they were going to be this year, because they haven't had the players we thought they were going to have. And some of the players haven't produced to the level that we thought that they would. And some of them got off to a late start. Some of them got off to a great start. And fell apart. Some of them are barely getting going. Like, look, you have to give Conforto credit for this Padres series. You have to. I mean, he scored a run in game one. He drove in two in game two. Game two could be a totally different baseball game if it wasn't for Conforto. Now, am I expecting that consistently with runners on? I'm not. I still don't think that he's earned a spot to be an everyday player, but they don't have anybody else. Not with Edman and Kike on the IL. Not two guys that can play center. You don't got it. I mean, technically you could put Mookie right, Andy left. I drew a blank there. You could do some things. You could do something. You could put Mookie in right. I'm sorry. You can put Teo in left. You can keep Paez in center. But what I'm saying is there are things you could do, but they're not comfortable with it. They're not comfortable with it. And maybe when Edman and Kike come off the IL, maybe they'll do some things. But as guys continue to be continuing to roll Conforto out there on a nightly basis, there really was no expiration date into it because they just haven't had the bodies. So it's one of those things that is annoying. But also Teo, man. Like, so Dave benched Teo the first game of the Angels series for lackluster effort in the Toronto series. Now, I want you guys to kind of notice something here, because I don't think a lot of people caught this. And I definitely did a double take on this. So you had the Toronto game, and in that game, Teo doesn't really run out of play in right field. You could see Dave's frustration. You could see it. Now, Teo is beloved by his teammates, by his coaches, by the fan base. Everybody loves Teo. There's no doubt about that. Everybody loves Teo. But you could tell that there was probably an uncomfortable conversation between Teo and Dave after that game, or when he pulled him out of the game. And Teo had an interesting quote in the locker room talking about how close he came to returning to the Blue Jays and how he almost did and how it was close. They were trying to make things happen. Like he's sitting there after a loss talking about how he almost joined the team that beat him. Coincidentally, after he gets pulled out of the game for lackluster effort, the day before he got benched for that lackluster effort, and then he drops that quote. Now, that quote went over a lot of people's heads. But I checked on this because when I heard that, I was like, yo, that's one of those things. So I reached out, and the Dodgers were not happy about that. They were not happy about that. And so Teo has I don't know what it is. Well, I kind of know what it is. Okay, so Teo is a unique guy. Teo has been a very good baseball player many times in his career. Teo has had success. He's hit for power. He's had RBIs. But Teo's never secured a long-term deal. Teo's gone from team to team. And when he got to the Dodgers, it felt like he found a home. The fans loved him. Like I said, the teammates loved him. He won a World Series. He had key moments in the playoffs, key moments in the World Series. There was a lot of things that Teo did that made him part of the fabric of the Dodgers and the city. But Teo didn't get the money he wanted from the Dodgers. This drug out. It went a while. And he had to finally blink and give in, and he was the one. The Dodgers were willing to walk away. He blinked, and he took the deal. Teo still feels that he should have got more money from the Dodgers. But he didn't. And that's where it is. So I don't want to believe that's why he has lackluster play. I don't want to believe that that's kind of part of it. But the way Teo started the season, this is not the same guy. When this season started, it felt like, oh my God, Teo's about to have an even better year than he did last year. The way he started the season was incredible. He was a beast. Him and Edmund, both power numbers. Edmund had more power out the gate to start the season than he ever has in his entire career. He was doing his thing. Then they both got to go on the IL and they come back, and neither one of them have been the same since. So the Teo thing is interesting to me. He should be benched tomorrow. I know the Dodgers really want to get this sweep. I know Teo's had great moments in Coors Field, including a huge grand slam that tied a game last year. They need to bench him tomorrow. They need to bench him tomorrow. He could have cost them a game today. That was a big game against a big opponent, big situation. You can't have that mental breakdown at that point of the game. I don't care if you think that's an automatic out. Look what happened. You had seen enough from the Padres. You had seen enough. Merrill dropped the ball. You saw that ball that Shohei hit to left field that the dude overran, had to reach back and make a catch. You've seen several times where they almost coughed up the baseball. So why would you not go all in on a ball that out the gate was no way guaranteed an out? Look at Luis Ariz, man. He finds all those little lucky little holes in the outfield or along the baselines to put the baseball. And look how much effort he gets. He gets to second every time that ball falls on a play that should have been made. So I'm just saying, there. You have to do that. But that quote, the second I heard it, I was like, yo, I hit him with a. So I reached out on that. I reached out and I was like, because I know, I knew it. I knew it. Time and place, man. Like I knew it. And like if he said that leading up to the series and he had some reminiscing about playing with Vlade and all these guys and he was with Vladdy Jr. and talking about playing in Toronto. And he was talking about that coming into the series when that's different. Probably shouldn't do it then either. But I'm saying if he's asked a question in that situation, he played there. Those are his guys. I can almost understand that. But the way he did it, the timing in which he did it, that shit caught me immediately. Immediately. So I also think like there's part of it him not getting all the bread he wanted from the Dodgers. Two, he's getting pulled out of games because of defensive liabilities. And he's not even getting pulled out in just the ninth inning. He's getting pulled out in games where he may potentially bat again. That's how little they don't trust him in the outfield in close games. There's been a couple of games where Dave pulled him out and the person he put in has to come up to bat. Now, it could be the bullpen blew a lead. It could be the Dodgers just batted around. Like, there's different variations of it. But the Dodgers know that's a chance, and they take the risk because they'd rather have the defense. So it's going to be interesting how this plays out in the playoffs. Do they do that in the playoffs in a close game? Because what happens if it's a tie game and you come up and you got a ghost runner and that pinch hitter or that fielder there's now instead of Teo? Like the weight and the pressure of that decision gets so much heavier in the playoffs than it does right now. So I'm very interested to see how the Dodgers play that, how Dave plays that. And again, I think Dave did a great job this series. I think he did a great job this series. But when you're managing against Mike Shildt, you don't got to do much. He's just like he's just like a prop on the porch. He's just there. Dude's not doing anything. He's just there. He's just there, just hanging out, looking like a UPS driver in his uniform. He's just there. He's not doing nothing. If he was doing something, Will Smith threw out three guys. One of them we all knew was safe because these umpires have been on one. That ball that got called a strike against Manny today was BS. And I know it's Manny, and I know it was against the other team, but I don't like that. I don't like that. The Dodgers also got squeezed on one too. Vesey got squeezed on a pitch, but that one to Manny was a ball and a half outside. That call was crazy. That call was crazy. And as a baseball fan, I hate that. It benefited the Dodgers. I understand that. And I'm not going to say that affected the outcome of the final score. It could have, but we don't know what happens next. But that's a horrible call. I said the same thing in the Angels game when they went to extra innings and the Dodgers ended up losing anyways. That ball, that pitch should have been strike 3 that they called a ball. We've seen this so many times on both teams. On both teams. The Dodgers cannot get a check swing call to save their lives. They got one, I think, yesterday in a blowout game. But it's just the umpires are weird, man. They're weird. But here we are, halfway through August, a little more than halfway through August, and we're still trying to solve the Conforto problem. We're still talking about the injury problem. But one thing that did surprise me is the Dodgers bullpen matched the Padre bullpen. Both bullpens gave up 4 runs in this series. Both. Now, if you would have told me before the start of the series that the Dodgers bullpen was going to match the Padres bullpen in output as far as runs allowed, I would have been very confident in the Dodgers winning the series. Because when you looked who was going to go out there, once Kershaw set the tone in game 1, once Kershaw got the win, and we had Snell and Glasnow back to back, that's when it really felt like, oh, we got this series. We might sweep them. We might sweep them because the game 1 was their game to get. Game 1 was their game to get. Could have gone either way. Could have gone either way, but it didn't. Went the Dodgers' way. And once the Dodgers got game 1, felt like the Padres might be done in the series. So here we are. They sweep them. They get the season series. They got a 2-game, really a 3-game lead on them. They go back to San Diego to face the Giants, who they just swept in San Francisco and just obliterated them. Like it wasn't even a series. It wasn't even competitive. It was a slaughterhouse. Now that Giants team is coming to San Diego. Unless I am missing something here, I think the Padres either sweep them or take that series 3-1. Maybe the Giants edge out 1 because I think there's a TBD pitcher in there somewhere. Dylan Cease is so inconsistent. You got Pivetta. The Padres starting pitching is not great, but the Giants have been trash lately. So to think that the Giants could go there and split with the Padres, I'm hoping. I don't know if it's in the cards. But then again, I didn't have the Dodgers sweeping this series either. And here we are. Here we are. So again, appreciate y'all, man. I'm Empire Jeff. This is EmpireJeffTV. We are talking the Los Angeles Dodgers sweeping the San Diego Padres this weekend at Dodger Stadium in a series that had all kinds of different emotional moments and tension and frustration and excitement and everything you could want in a series versus 2 divisional rivals. Divisional rivals. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. The divisional rivals. They're not our rivals. You're not. Stop it. Stop it. Stop trying to get in. Stop trying to get in. Stop trying to get in. You don't got to pass. You don't got to pass. You don't know the code. You don't got a key. You can't get in. You can't get in. Stop. Stop knocking. Stop hanging around out front. Stop trying to get on the guest list. You're not in here. You're not in here. You're not our rivals. 2022 was cute for y'all. That's cute. That was good. That was nice. But you're not our rivals. You're not. You're not. And I don't say that disrespectfully. I think you guys have had an incredible turnaround. I love what your franchise is doing for going for it. I like a lot about what San Diego Padres do for baseball. I think they are good for baseball. But I can say that and still say y'all ain't our rivals. You're not. You're not. Arizona tries to be too. You're not. Can y'all just become rivals of each other? Can someone get on, like, what are those, like, dating sites? Like Christian Mingle, FarmersOnly.com, like anything. Do they still have those things? Like, are those things still a thing? Maybe MLB Tinder. I don't even know if Tinder's still around, right? Yeah, let's throw them out on one of those things, right? And let's set up. Y'all, do me a favor. We need to make this a thing. Let's set up. Let's be a good friend and hook some people up. Let's set up the Padres and the Diamondbacks. Let's introduce them. Like, I think y'all will make good rivals. They're your type. They're your type. You both obsess over the Dodgers. You both had parades for beating them once in the playoffs. You both chant beat LA thinking it sounds the same as San Francisco. I think we need to hook them up. Hook them up. Damn, that firework was crazy. That shook my house. Lord. But let's hook them up. Let's hook them up. Arizona, San Diego. Y'all look good together. Y'all should be rivals. Y'all should be rivals. Y'all should be rivals. Because it ain't with us. It ain't with us. But anyways, all right. I've been running my mouth. It's been a while since I did a show. So I forgot that I like to read comments. So let's see. What's going on, Brent? Brent, are you on here on multiple platforms? I see your name popping up in a couple different. Hey, Brent, are you that dude that trolls me on Twitter about the Angels and the Padres? Are you? That's another one that should hook up. That's another one that should hook up. Like, Padres and Angels fans, they've united. They formed an alliance. An alliance. So that's what it is. It's the anti-Boys in Blue alliance. It's the Angels. It's the Padres. It's the Diamondbacks. I'm going to show respect to the Giants, even though they're trash this year. I'm going to show respect because they've earned it. So, see, it's the alliance. It's the alliance against the Boys in Blue. That's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah, you don't want to troll me on Twitter, man. You be going wild, man. You be going wild. You need to relax a little bit. You need to relax a little bit. Relax. you got a little too froggy over the Angels, like sweeping the Dodgers, like you were an Angel fan. Like, come on, man. Let's not do this. Let's not do this. Joseph, what's up, Joseph? What's going on? Okay, I see him in here. Come on. What's going on, Stephanie Cat Curry? No Muncie, no Kike, no Kim, no Edmund, no problem. Even our injured pitchers, no problem. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see. Mookie Clutch. How sweep it is. Yeah, Mookie, man. Mookie, y'all know Mookie's my favorite player. So, I took a lap around the house when that happened. I was like, Mookie effing bets, baby. Like, Mookie's my guy, man. Mookie's my guy. So, for him to do, look, I don't care who did it. Whoever hits a home run to give us a lead in the bottom, I'll take that from anybody. But I'm happy it was Mook, man. He needs it. He needs it. My top pitchers in the playoffs that I would use for the Dodgers: Kershaw, Yamamoto, Snell, and Glass. Now, don't sleep on Ohtani, man. Ohtani gonna get us a win in the playoffs with his arm. Trust. But I get what you mean. What's going on, Lakers? Dodgers for life. Kershaw set the tone in game 1. That was a big game, and he delivered. Salute to Kershaw. He's been great. Yeah, he absolutely set the tone, man. Like I said, that was the game for the Padres to get. And if they get that game, and who knows where this series goes? Who knows where this series goes if they get game 1? So that I absolutely agree with you on. Looking forward to being at Petco Park, where we was 2-1 there earlier in the season. Remark. Yeah, it's going to be another big series. Like I said, if the Dodgers don't go in and handle business these next 7 games, and this last series was 4-0. And again, they just came off of a sweep, right? And now they swept. So they're still 3-3 in their last 6. So they got to get it together. And these next 7 games are going to be very, very, very telling for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Absolutely. Joe is arguing with somebody. Sweeping the Padres sends a huge message. Yeah. Because I mean, again, they came into this game scorching. They were on fire, and the Dodgers extinguished them. They put out the fire. They did. They put out the fire, and they absolutely needed to. Rumor says, well, I'm in Virginia, looking forward to watching it on Gamecast ESPN and listen to the Dodgers radio on Sirius XM. Yeah. I listen to it. I love, for those who watch the show for a while, know how much I still love listening to the games on the radio. I still do. It's just an old kind of pastime of mine with my grandfather, and being the son of a truck driver, grandson of a truck driver, nephew of a truck driver, cousin of a truck driver, like being a lot of trucks in my day, and just listening to the radio, listening to the Dodger games on the radio is always been a thing of mine that I've enjoyed doing. Joe says Dave Roberts needs to solve the tail issue. Yeah, he does. I've talked about that at length. I think he gets benched again, man. I think he should. I definitely think he should get benched again. Let's see. Yeah, Brent's a Padre and Angel fan, so he's probably not happy today. I see there's a lot of going back and forth with them, so I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna stay keep that off the screen. Lakers Dodgers for life said, I ain't gonna lie, when I saw that quote about Teo, it did throw me off. It just seemed out of place, out of left field. It had me thinking, what was that? Thanks for the clarification. Yeah, and immediately when I heard that, like I told you, I did a double take, because I just knowing what I know and breaking down articles and quotes and certain type of things now, like that, you know what? It's funny. It's gonna sound funny. It's a totally different sport. It's a totally different scenario and a totally different team. That's something LeBron does, right? That's something LeBron says, to send a message, to drive a little jab, something Phil Jackson would have done. Like, those are the type of things that they didn't make any sense for him to do that. Just did not make sense for him to do it. And the second I heard it, I was like, man, it's a bad look, Teo. I'm not gonna make fun. Okay, they're talking to each other. Okay, I'm trying to stay out of the back and forth here. But Craig, what's going on, Craig? Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see. Hold on, I will answer this one. Mike Schilt or Bob Bell? They're both bad, and they both coached the Padres, and the Padres were bad under both of them in certain situations. But I think Melvin is really bad. I think Schilt. I think Schilt has more dog in him, but more dog, as in more bark, but a whole less bite. You know what's funny? Dave Roberts has a lot more bite in him than people think. He just doesn't bark as much. But Schilt is all bark, very little bite. Bob Melvin is just I gotta say he's worse. I do gotta say he's worse. Great managers don't exist in baseball anymore. Yeah, what's the word I'm looking for here? Today's manager is managed upstairs in a lot of the teams. So a lot of the great managers didn't really want to be part of this brand of baseball. There's arguments on both sides of the fence there. There's arguments on both sides. Mike Scioscia was a very good manager for a long time, but he refused to adjust at all. Now, I think there could be great managers if organizations let them manage. But organizations would much rather have guys like a Dave Roberts, guys that can get out there and stick to the game plan, the strategy to a T. And then when he goes off script, he has enough tenure in the organization to be able to get away with it. Because what Dave did last year was not a typical Dodgers style of going about things. The things he did kind of was like, look, if I'm going down my way. So like today's managers, like you still got Bruce Bochy in the game. Bruce Bochy has been a fantastic manager for a long time. He's still in the game, but the game is different. And someone like Bruce Bochy probably couldn't even find success with the Dodgers because the style of which they want to play. Like, I know that so many people DM me like, oh, if the Dodgers just had Greg Counsell instead of Dave Roberts. And then, the Brewers got better as soon as he left, right? I didn't see the scores today, but as of yesterday, the Brewers won 14 in a row. The Brewers got better when Counsell left. So what I'm saying is the brand names or the names that find themselves on the internet and then just pick up waves and people piggybacking on off other people's opinions and waves. Like, I don't want to go too deep in the Dave Roberts thing. Everyone's made their decision on it, and I'm fine with that. But my thing is, I don't think there's a lot of great NBA coaches anymore. I've spoken about this before. And I don't think there's any great old school style major league managers anymore. I still think there's good managers in Major League Baseball. And I think that there's some managers who win baseball games come playoff time. But there's also puppets, and there's also overthinking, and there's also overanalyzing, and there's also overcorrecting in today's game because they have so much more data and they have so much more information that these guys did before. Let me ask you guys something. I'm going to kind of paint a picture. I think you guys will all resonate with this. All right. Now, when it comes down to even picking a song or an album you want to listen to. Now, if you have Spotify, if you got Apple Music, whatever your streaming source is, whatever it is, Pandora, the radio, when's the last time that you specifically went and said, I'm going to play this album? I'm going to play this album. When's the last time? When's the last time? Oh, when you got on, I'm going to listen to music. What do I listen to? You 9 times out of 10, people are letting the algorithm pick what they want to listen to. I don't do that all the time. Because I go back, like if there's an anniversary of an album, like tomorrow, if there's an anniversary of an album that I loved 20 years ago that came out on tomorrow's date, I'll play that album on an anniversary day. So I find myself ways to cheat the laziness of algorithm, right? I force myself to do that. And so, but a lot of people don't. So today's management in all kinds of industries, not just baseball, now rely on systems and data and all this stuff to do a lot of the thinking and heavy lifting for them, almost AI-ish, right? So they rely on all that. It's part of the game. And that's how some of these guys get into the league now, is because they're able to work with the data. And a lot of the guys who will go out there with just a lineup card and don't give 2 Fs about what your data tells them, teams won't hire them. They won't hire them. So those guys are, for the most part, gone. Like I said, Bruce Bochy is still a very good manager, but Bruce Bochy is not the same guy. He can't have that same exact impact like he did with the Giants. He just can't do it. Because a guy like Bruce Bochy would rather have a guy that hits 320 and 14 home runs. But that's not baseball anymore. They want a guy that bats 240 and hits 35 to 40 with 30 to 40 doubles, $110 RBIs, slugging. So Bruce Bochy doesn't, I don't want to say doesn't know how to manage those type of players, but Bruce Bochy probably doesn't love managing those type of players. And that's kind of where we are. It's kind of where it is. And that just tells a story of kind of where we are right now. And I think like the music aspect of it is very similar. Damn, these fireworks are, I don't know if you guys can hear it because I got my mixer blocks out a lot of stuff. Like there's usually a lot of stuff going around that doesn't make it to the show, but in the background, but that stuff lighting off in my neighborhood right now is nuts. Man. But man. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, so it's just a total different style of game. Roy, what's up, man? Appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Giants doing the towel, rolling over against the Padres. Pathetic. Yeah, they did throw in the towel. And look, the Giants have no incentive to try to. The Giants probably want the Padres to beat the Dodgers, man. I even said before the series started, the Padres' weakness is their starters. That's why you got to get them early. You got to get them early because if you let that bullpen stare down on you, even though the Dodgers got to them, they're tough. They're tough. Jeff, we definitely need another outfielder in the offseason. We do. And they thought they got one this year, but Conforto just hasn't done the job. Hasn't done the job. When I tell y'all, man, the Dodgers almost pulled off a phenomenal trade deadline. They almost did. They were in it to the very end. And it just couldn't happen. They tried. They tried a lot harder than I thought they tried. They were in on things a lot more than I thought they were. And they legit tried to go for it. Now, they weren't going to give up everything. They weren't going to go to the lengths of what San Diego did. They weren't going to give up their top prospect, their top 2 or 3 prospects in one deal. They weren't going to do that. But some of these deals, they didn't have to. And they were committed. Dude, these bombs going off outside. This lit up the whole backside of my house. They were committed to solving the outfield problem at the trade deadline. Very much so. Things happen though. Things happen. And when you're going down the line and you're the team that's working the deal with that team, and it's pretty much been decided that these are going to be the 2 teams that make a deal, and then at the last minute something goes kind of haywire, you're kind of stuck. And that's kind of what happened. The Dodgers were not going to match San Diego's price for Mason Miller. They didn't really have to. There were some other guys that were moved. Duran, they weren't going to match the price for that. They didn't really have to. Would have been nice. But they came very close to getting some pieces that would have been less expensive, but potentially bigger impact. As crazy as that sounds. Bochy is a great manager, last of a dying breed. Oh yeah, absolutely was. Stars run the team in the NBA. Front office runs the team in MLB. Yeah, absolutely. The front office runs MLB. Agents, though, have so much power in the MLB. Agents and the players union have so much power in MLB. It's one of the reasons like this lockout talk comes. It's not strictly about what you all think. The agents have so much power. Agents can dictate sometimes playing time. Agents can dictate a player potentially taking a home team discount if certain terms are met on playing time and who their backup is. There's a lot of different things that agents kind of have their hands in Major League Baseball. And it's a very, very interesting league. And it's going to be a very, very interesting 2026 offseason and see what happens there. But Dodgers, man. These next 4 games are going to be very telling. If they go out there and smoke the Padres in Petco next week after smoking the Rockies, then this team is all the way back. All the way back. But I got to see that before I can go there. I was starting to feel this team was coming to life in the Toronto series, but I said, I'm not willing to go there yet. And they get swept by the Angels. So now they sweep the Padres. I'm still not ready to go there yet. I'll be ready to go there if a week from today, next Sunday, we're sitting here and the Dodgers won at least 5 of the next 7 games. I'll be really excited about that. Stephanie Kent Curry said, I got a question, Jeff, and this is a tough question. Do you think they should bring back Muncy next season or get Murakami from Japan? They have the option on Muncy. This is a tough one because he completely turned his season around and had become one of our best players at the time, like of him getting injured the first time, then he comes back and he starts taking off again. Muncy's getting up there. He's going to continue to have injuries. He's going to fall off productivity-wise again. He's going to have these issues. But when it comes down to another Japanese player, in this case, a third baseman, it comes down to the money. What's the money like? Dodgers aren't going to go past a certain number. There's eventually going to be the Japanese player that doesn't go to the Dodgers, right? The top Japanese guy. There's eventually going to be the guy who doesn't go to the Dodgers. Will it be Murakami? I don't know. But of all the guys that have come to the Dodgers, the one that I'm curious about is what Roki can bring it when he comes back. That's what I'm curious about. Really got to see what Roki can do. Roy said, you do both. Murakami is our future, and Muncy will be on a team discount. Yeah, like if they don't pick up the option and sign him for less, but I don't think Murakami comes if he knows he's taking a back seat for a year or two. And I don't think the Dodgers pay him the money that he's going to command to not be the starter. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see that playing out that way. He's going to get a lot of money. The Yankees need a third baseman badly. So I expect them to be very aggressive in pursuing him. And we will see, we'll see where he lands. But first of all, like I said, right now, the Japanese player I'm most focused on right now is Roki and what he can do when he comes back. So I appreciate you guys, man, for tuning in. It's been a minute since I did a live, so I thank y'all. I will be back doing more this week coming up. I just been so busy. So I've been trying to keep y'all, with the 1 to 2, 3 minute, whatever clips and, stay active. Make sure to follow me on all the socials at EmpireJeffTV everywhere. Twitter, X, IG, TikTok, here on YouTube, Facebook. I didn't even realize that my Facebook was starting to take off because I never plug it, right? EmpireJeffTV on Facebook as well. Good show. Appreciate y'all. I need to get more consistent. Sorry for lacking. Sorry for not being here as much. As in the past. Just got a whole lot going on, and it's really, really tough to dedicate the time to streaming for an hour and a half or whatnot. So thank y'all for coming back when I do pop up. I thank you guys. Y'all could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. I appreciate that. Drop a like if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will catch you guys. Maybe I'll do a live stream tomorrow for the Dodger game. Maybe I'll do playback and YouTube tomorrow for the Dodgers. So if I got some time, maybe we'll make some time. So appreciate y'all. Y'all stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. Enjoy your Monday. And as always, let's go Dodgers. Swept the Padres ass out of LA, man. Y'all stay safe. Catch you on the next one. Peace.